they had a younger daughter who bore the ancient name Hulda, and her beauty was different from that of her sisters. She was endowed with great charm, with something of her mother's innocent expression and her father's strength of will, but more than anything else, she reminded one of a character out of a fairy tale. Flowers such as these occasionally grow in hidden corners. Hulda was of a capricious nature. Sometimes she helped willingly with all the chores, milking the cows, and even mixing fodder for the horse before the servant came. But sometimes she did nothing. She would spend the day sitting on the threshold of the mill, listening to the hum of the millstones, or she would cross the narrow bridge and wander barefoot through the hills. She could neither read nor write because she had not been taught. She had never learned to sing either, and she expressed the music in her soul only by skipping and dancing or by rolling down the hillside. Afterwards, when she picked herself up and gracefully shook off the dust, the air seemed to be filled with an echo of paradise before the fall. Her long braids gleamed like gold, her eyes reflected the purity of a noon sky in the springtime, and when she turned her head, revealing her slender neck, she looked like a year-old doe full of wonder at the joy of the forest. Once finding a snake crawling on the ground, she picked it up and wound it around her neck like a necklace, and there was no fear in her heart. Whenever a passing stranger saw her, he would stop and gaze at her in wonder. On fair nights, she would sleep out of doors under the dome of the sky, as no Jewish girl would ever do. And yet no one dared to touch her. Once 2 of the village urchins planned to molest her in an isolated spot, but when the time came and they saw her from afar, lying on the grass like a wandering star, their courage failed them. Thus lived this wondrous creature far from the din of civilization and from the contact of man, until one day the shadows began to fall. Follow me now, and I will lead you to another world, not far away, but another world. For now we are in a city of long streets and large houses full of doors and windows on all sides. The city is crammed because of its large population, and therefore the houses stand close together, side by side. Each father builds a small apartment for his sons and his sons-in-law in his yard, and they all live crowded together, sharing the burden of the taxes, whether to the central government or to the local Polish gentry who own the city and all the land under the feet of its inhabitants. At the same time, these Jews worship the God of Israel and obey the commandments of the Torah. No man ever says, "My work is heavy, I will seek compensation in this world." The people of the city are ordinary Jews, and the wheels of their life move smoothly. Now, Shmaryahu Avigdor sometimes comes to the town to negotiate a deal or to raise a much-needed loan. And when he comes to town, he is besieged by matchmakers with offers to marry his daughter to a member of the Yehuda family. Engagement at 16 years and marriage at 18. Such is the Jewish custom. A dowry is promised from both sides. The groom's family is a notable one, and the bride is well spoken of. Shmaryahu has already talked the matter over with his wife, and she has agreed. Plates are broken, the traditional engagement formula recited, and Hulda has become engaged. Come, O bride, I will bow to you in the riddle of your beauty, and you will cover your face with a veil. It is summer, and all the members of the family of Yehuda in a long line of carriages are journeying together to the valley, to the wedding of Moshe Abraham, the son of Naphtali, and the bride Hulda, the daughter of Shmaryahu. Along with them come a band, a rabbi, a shochet, and 3 shamasim. Whenever they pass a village, all the villagers come out to wave to them, and they are astonished at the splendor which meets their eyes. When the party begins to climb uphill, emissaries are sent ahead to announce their arrival. The bride's family come out joyously to greet them, and all the members of the 2 families are introduced. What joy there is, cries of jubilation and flag waving, and the groom is led like a king among his people. Afterwards, when the travelers have rested, washed, and changed their clothes, the bridegroom is received by the bride's family, and the groom's family also comes to see the bride. When the first visitors come to the threshold of the house and see the bride sitting in all her glory, They are awed and cannot believe their eyes, for they have never seen perfection such as this. A few are troubled by what they see. Secretly they say in their hearts, if only the groom were 1/10 as good as the bride is. Not so Shmar Yahweh Victor, father of the bride. He is full of joy. Night falls. It is a night of dancing intended for the women. Only afterwards, at the feast and the banquet, do the men appear. When the feast is over, a great weariness descends on the guests, and they all go to sleep. I will not tell you of the dreams. Sweet is the sleep of the bridegroom. Dawn rises. It is a day of fasting for the bridegroom and his bride. At noon they cover the face of the bride with a veil. Hulda sits like a statue on the chair in the middle of the hall, and the women stand around her and chant. At twilight the sky reddens, the bridal canopy is set up. Men and women come bearing torches, in the light of which their black garments gleam. Trumpets blow. The peasants and their wives also come to see the spectacle. People stand closely packed, the veiled bride standing in the center like an Indian goddess. They begin to walk around her, as is the custom. The rabbi reads the contract of marriage and breaks the glass. Shouts of Mazel Tov, the drums beat, the cymbals clang, and a crackling fire rises from a distance, reddening the air. The bridegroom, Moshe Abraham, arises on the following morning and wraps himself in his new prayer shawl, as if it were his protection and refuge. He stands next to the wall praying. The guests begin to wake from sleep and come to the room after the drinking and celebration of the previous night. The women also come to take part in the customs of the day following the wedding, but the bride has not yet arrived. All morning her mother sits in her room coaxing Hulda to get up, but the poor girl's face remains turned to the wall. It is only in the afternoon, when one of the wealthy relations is about to leave and the turmoil is at its height, that the bride arises from her bed, for her head aches. She leaves her chamber and goes again to the waters of the river. But this time, she does not come back. The next morning, they tie 2 oxen to the wagon, and in it they lay the girl who has been taken out of the water. Shemayahu and his wife journey to the city to bury their dead, the oxen lowing on the way. The people of the city give the lovely girl a burial plot and say nothing more. Nevertheless, it has become the custom for everyone to visit her grave each year and mourn for the dead girl who has gone, never to return.